Mr Mark Dreyfus, Parliamentary Secretary for Climate Change and Energy Efficiency, Martin Cray, Executive Director of Manufacturing Operations, Holden, and honoured guests. 25 years ago, I followed my first story as a journalist for a competing magazine to Manufacturers Monthly on a typewriter. Thinking about the magnitude of change that has taken place in our economic infrastructure and in technology since then, I'm pleasantly surprised that we still have a vigorous and substantive manufacturing sector to serve that Manufacturers Monthly can serve. And I guess I'm a little bit more surprised even that we've just published one of the biggest issues of the magazines ever. As far as Manufacturers Monthly is concerned, I only have to go back 7 years and we were a group blissfully making all our money out of print magazines. At the time, we thought the internet was the established media company's friend and our future. And we thought that Google was a neat search engine run by two geeks that had no commercial future. You might imagine that as a media group we've had a few rude shocks since then. And notwithstanding, and probably more through good fortune than good management, Reed Business, who owns Manufacturers Monthly, has so far ended up on the good side of the internet growth ledger. Today, we draw 60% of our revenues from online media. We're growing, and where once we just served Australian businesses in print, the company here today is in 38 countries with our web properties. So I'm going to cheekily predict that given we still have a manufacturing sector in 25 years, you're going to see Manufacturers Monthly serving that sector in one way or another. Just what state the manufacturing sector might be in 25 years is a question that I suspect doesn't occupy the minds of our policymakers and planners quite enough at the moment. In 1961, when Manufacturers Monthly was launched, and when I was born, manufacturing accounted for about 29% of GDP and employed about 25% of our workers. Today it accounts for 10% of GDP and employs about 1 million people. That's very important still, for sure. But perhaps in the shadow of some sexier, shorter-term growth sectors, such as mining and services, in the minds of some of our policymakers. The importance of manufacturing to a nation like ours comes down to one thing. At their beating heart, manufacturers make things. And if they do it efficiently enough, they create and they add a lot of value. As a services company, it's pretty clear to me that without continuing vibrance in our manufacturing sector, the sector that makes stuff, we may have less and less to serve. And as much as I love the mining sector, in which we have many media properties, the sector is more about value extraction than value creation. In fact, we could be wasting our mining inheritance if we don't take the opportunity more strongly that manufacturing presents to us to value add to our mining and construction sectors. In the end, I wouldn't be confident that Manufacturers Monthly would be here in 25 years if I wasn't confident that our manufacturing sector wouldn't be either. Some of that confidence comes from servicing that sector for 25 years. What I've seen is smart, motivated people who love to build and love to create value. You'll see some of that tonight in some of the award winners and some of the award finalists. We've also seen some pretty courageous and smart policymakers as well over the years. Today, my guess is that the policymakers probably need a little more forethought and courage in their thinking about this sector. I'll conclude with just a few simple predictions. We will be celebrating the 75th anniversary of Manufacturers Monthly in 25 years' time. Our fantastic managing editor, Sarah, will be giving the CEO address at that function. And Sarah will have a great story to tell about governments that got the hint and helped a little more, and about a sector that will be contributing more than ever to the well-being of the Australian economy and the wealth of all Australians. Thank you.